Litecoin used to be so promising. It was one of the rare blue chip projects out there. I mean, if you watch my videos from 3 years ago, you'll see that I loved Litecoin and owned a lot of LTC. But now, I hold zero. And it's really been all downhill since Charlie Lee, the founder, sold his coins at the top of the previous cycle. But honestly, that's not even one of the main criticisms I have about this project. So in this video, I want to share with you why I'm bearish on Litecoin and my single greatest worry about this project. So if that sounds interesting to you, then strap in my friend and let's dive right in. So back in 2017-2018, Litecoin was super popular. And that popularity made sense to me. It was the silver to Bitcoin's gold. And it was the testnet for future Bitcoin upgrades. And it actually fulfilled that role wonderfully. It was fast, cheap, and had an approachable founder who I actually met at a conference before, by the way. But from my perspective, this project just kind of faded away into oblivion. It's been a few years now since I last reviewed Litecoin, so that's why I wanted to revisit the key question here. And that is Litecoin still a solid investment choice for my portfolio or no? Well, I did a lot of digging and research, and long story short, my answer is a resounding no. And here's why. My first issue with Litecoin is just that its development progress is slow and uninspiring. If you look at the list of Litecoin improvement proposals, there's only a couple of them, and they're both related to Mimblewimble, which is a technology that enables anonymous transactions. That's been super hyped in Litecoin land for years now, and has been under development for 2 whole years, with a target release in Q4 of 2021. For the sake of their community, I really hope they're able to hit that timeline. But either way, Litecoin is supposed to be a testnet for Bitcoin. That was a huge part of their reason for existence. But Bitcoin has been leading the way implementing Taproot, Schnorr signatures, and has a bunch of other stuff in their pipeline. I mean, just look at the Bitcoin improvement proposals page for comparison. There is so much going on over there, and Litecoin's development is looking pretty stale in comparison. And in my opinion, that's a big blow to their value proposition. Now, beyond that, their network just isn't being used that much. I mean, look at this chart comparing the USD value of all coins sent per day. This is for Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin, and even Bitcoin Cash, a forgotten project, handily beats Litecoin. That's kind of embarrassing if you ask me, and you don't even want to see that same chart, but for BTC and LTC. You'd need a magnifying glass to see Litecoin's value transferred on that chart. And remember, this metric, the dollar amount sent, is important because Litecoin is a cryptocurrency. Emphasis on the second part of that word. It's not meant for smart contracts, so the point here is to use it for payments, for commerce, and things like that. So the more value transferred daily, the healthier the network. Now, this lack of economic activity is not good because it means that less fees are generated, which means that it's less enticing for miners to mine Litecoin compared to other coins. And this is super important for any proof of work coin because miners directing hash rate towards your network is a good proxy for how secure it is against attacks. Just look at this chart of mining profitability. It's in logarithmic mode, but you can pretty much see how it's been down, down, down since the beginning. And if we look at this chart of total hash rate for the Litecoin network, you can see how it pretty much dropped off and stalled after their last halving in August of 2019. Did someone tell them that the halving was supposed to be for the block reward and not for the hash rate? Well, this whole tenuous mining situation could lead to something called the mining death spiral. Basically, this happens when the value of a coin doesn't go up enough with its halvings, and also there's not enough usage to generate transaction fees either. So if the price isn't able to at least double every 4 years when they undergo a halving, there will be less and less miners. And that's what causes the death spiral. Lower prices leads to less miners, leads to lower prices, and on and on. You can avoid this by having real adoption so that price goes up and also more transaction fees are generated. But it looks like Litecoin is struggling to do that. And by the way, this isn't just some theory. We've seen this happen to other proof of work coins in the past. Now, I'm a little bit surprised about the state of mining for Litecoin because it used to embrace its ASIC resistance. And ASICs are just those powerful machines that make it impossible for regular people like you and I to mine with our computers. So Litecoin used to try to avoid ASICs, but they've kind of given up on that and now there's a ton of ASICs mining Litecoin. I presume that's because they want to increase the overall hash rate by any means possible. So what happened is that Litecoin is now even more centralized instead, in terms of the distribution of hash rate, of course, but also in the centralization of wealth. I mean, look at this table. There's only around 500 wallets holding between 10,000 and 10 million Litecoin, and collectively they hold 65% of the entire supply. That is not healthy by any stretch. So taking a step back, I'm just wondering, what is the value proposition of Litecoin today? I mean, there are better coins for speed, better coins for transaction fees, for storing value, and even Bitcoin is innovating more. So besides track record and perhaps sentimental value, I just don't see it. Let me know if you disagree though. Now, all of these points form my bear case for Litecoin, but before I get to my single greatest concern, there's something really funny and ironic here that I have to point out. And that has to do with our favorite meme doggy coin, Dogecoin. Dogecoin used to have problems attracting miners, and that meant that its network security suffered, which is why in 2014, they decided to be merge mined with Litecoin, which just meant that miners could mine LTC and Doge at the same time with the same hash rate. Doge was pretty much piggybacking off of Litecoin for the longest time, but oh, do things change. Doge has rocketed into the top 10 of all crypto coins, whereas Litecoin has fallen. And now Doge's mining profitability destroys Litecoins. So now it's more like Litecoin leeching off of Doge rather than the other way around. I bet the Doge community never foresaw this happening when they made that decision 7 years ago. Alright guys, it's time for my biggest criticism, and that is the market has spoken. Litecoin used to sit comfortably in the top 5 of all cryptocurrencies, but over the past few years it just kept on dropping and dropping, and now it's at number 15 and probably headed way lower in the future. I'm not really surprised though. I don't hear anyone talking about it in my crypto communities. There's no news nor excitement. And let's be honest, sentiment matters a ton in the crypto space. Now, Willy Woo, a respected crypto analyst, once wrote that there are two types of altcoins: degenerators and oscillators. Degenerators are the majority of altcoins, and they just bleed value versus Bitcoin over a long period of time. On the other hand, oscillators, like you see in this chart, maintain their value against Bitcoin, ping-ponging back and forth between a range. As for Litecoin, here is a chart of the LTC-BTC ratio, and it used to oscillate pretty well versus BTC. So I thought it was an oscillator, but nope, its BTC ratio chart is near all-time lows, and it really looks like it's about to break down from support. So it looks like it's on life support, to be honest. And remember, Litecoin is based on Bitcoin, so it has halvings too, but on different dates. Its last halving was August 2019, and that did nothing for Litecoin's price. Not for its USD value, nor its BTC ratio. So its price actually looks like it's mostly dependent on what Bitcoin is doing, and even then it's lagging behind. And for all of these reasons, that's why I say the market has spoken and decided that LTC is not and will not be a good investment in the future. I mean, what do you think though? By now, you're probably like, dang Kevin, you are so negative. Well, I promise you I'm not always like this, but this series is called My Contrarian View after all, and it's where I take stances that many of y'all may disagree with. But in these videos, I do like to share some things I like about each project too, because there's always two sides to the story. So for Litecoin, I like their memorable branding, I like their long track record, how there are legit merchants accepting LTC like Newegg, and also a nationwide network of Litecoin ATMs. They do have a track record as the testbed for Bitcoin upgrades, and they also did a fair launch, which I wish all crypto projects did. So these are just some of the few points for you to chew on, since you should definitely consider both sides for every debate. By the way, if you like these contrarian view type of videos, I got more great ones for you, like this one about why I'm not a fan of Cardano, or this one about why I think EOS has failed. So if you're curious, go check them out. Let me know what you think here. I'm Kevin from BFB. I hope to catch you on the next one, and cheers.